Revealed, the incredible journey of a cleaner's son who speaks 9 languages, a millionaire's touch. In the crumbling heart of his urban neighborhood, the sounds of cleaning rags and distant sirens filled the air. For Marcus, a 17-year-old boy, this was not just background noise, it encapsulated his life. Each deep breath reminded him of his mother's grueling night shifts, her weary hands a testament to unyielding love and silent sacrifices. But as the sun set, another universe unfolded before him, one of books piled high, language dictionaries strewn across his small desk, endless words dancing in his mind. He was determined to break free from poverty's grip, crafting a bridge out of languages, each one a pathway to his dreams. Marcus spent evenings in the flickering glow of a lamp, teaching younger kids the magic of words. Spanish is not just another language, it's a song filled with stories, he'd eagerly explain, his eyes sparkling as he guided them through simple phrases. His laughter echoed through the cramped hallways, those kids' faces lighting up like fireworks, chipping away at the dark clouds of despair that loomed over their community. He was a rare beacon of hope amid struggles, the proud son of a cleaner, dedicated to lifting those around him while nurturing dreams of his own. Then came the day everything shifted. Mr. Henderson, a millionaire who usually sped by in his polished car, paused this time. He observed Marcus, sweat glistening on his brow, teaching with unmatched passion as children huddled around him. Impressed by his fiery spirit and relentless dedication, the millionaire approached. "How would you like to intern at my firm?" he asked, eyes twinkling with promise. The words hung in the air, electric. It was a pathway to the American dream dangling tantalizingly in front of him. But excitement came intertwined with a haunting fear. What if this opportunity pulled him away from home, the very place that shaped him? His mother often greeted his dreams with pride, her eyes filled with hope, yet he could see the lurking fear beneath them. "Just don't forget us, Marcus," she said, her voice breaking slightly. The weight of her words pressed down on him. Could he really pursue this dream without severing the very roots that held him? The turmoil peaked when he received a scholarship for an elite university across the country. It was life or death to his aspirations, yet it felt like leaving everything he loved behind. In a heartbeat, he became a living paradox, an ambitious dreamer tethered to a beloved community. As the streets buzzed with chatter during a community event, they shared stories of their struggles, the laughter wiping tears away while tension simmered just beneath the surface. "Ladies and gentlemen, we are not invisible." Marcus stood before the crowd, louder than the city beneath, his heart racing. Then the applause came, but it felt like both celebration and funeral. Will his rise out of the shadows transform into something real, or would it leave him entrenched in the same cycles of despair that held his neighbors captive? As the event concluded, Marcus's future sprawled before him, a pathway filled with uncertainty. Would he find redemption in his dreams or be forever branded an exile from the people he loved? Just as he thought he discovered the answer, the flicker of doubt ignited once more. Could he truly rise without forgetting where he came from? Days blurred into one another as Marcus wrestled with his choices. Every morning, he woke to the sound of his mother preparing for work, the familiar scent of coffee mingling with the musty air of their cramped apartment. Her smile, despite the fatigue etched across her features, anchored him. "Big dreams, Marcus," she'd say, pouring out her hopes like the steaming brew in her cup. But the weight of those dreams felt heavier with each passing day. When Mr. Henderson invited him for the internship, it had felt like the universe had conspired to throw him a lifeline. Yet, beneath that initial excitement lay fear, a fear that gripped his heart like a vice. How could he navigate this new world of suits and skyscrapers while leaving his old life behind? Would they see him as just a boy from the wrong side of the tracks? One afternoon, Marcus decided to visit the local library, the sanctuary that had nurtured his linguistic passion. The quiet corners were filled with the scent of old paper and the soft rustle of pages turning. He ran his fingers along the spines of books that whispered secrets of distant lands. It was here that he first found solace and a spark of ambition. As he settled into a chair with a Spanish novel, a tap on his shoulder jolted him back. "Hey, you're Marcus, right?" It was Jada, one of his classmates. She had a bright smile and an energy that radiated warmth. I just heard about the scholarship. That's incredible. You'll be visiting so many new places. Thanks, Jada, he replied, trying to keep his voice steady. But it's a lot to think about, I get it. She leaned in, her eyes understanding. But you're meant for more. The way you teach those kids, you're already making a difference. Just imagine what you could do with a degree. Her words dawned upon him like distant sunlight breaking through clouds. Maybe he could have it both ways in education, a chance to soar, and then return, bringing back everything he learned to his community. That thought bloomed within him, a seed of hope breaking through the surface. Maybe you're right, he said, a smile creeping onto his face. Maybe I can share what I learn. Jada nodded fiercely. Don't be afraid to become someone new. Just remember the people who supported you. They'll want you to shine. That night, as Marcus lay in bed, he stared at the ceiling, imagining the bright future ahead, interspersed with the faces of the children he taught. The thought made him smile. But then came the voice, quiet yet persistent, the nagging doubt. Am I strong enough for both worlds? The next day, filled with a newfound determination, Marcus made his way down to Mr. Henderson's firm for his first day of work. The sleek building towered above him, its glass facade mirroring the sky. Anxiety filled his chest. What if they saw through him? A cleaner's son. A kid with too many dreams. With his heart in his throat, he stepped inside. As he navigated the polished floors, the sound of his footsteps echoing seemed to whisper reminders of where he'd come from. The door swung open, and Mr. Henderson greeted him with a firm handshake. Welcome aboard, Marcus. The warmth in his voice was unexpected, easing some tension in Marcus's shoulders. They walked through the office, and with each step, Marcus felt a spark of excitement mingle with his fears. As the hours passed, he immersed himself in everything: the business plans, the conversations, the intricate dance of professional life. But somewhere deep down, a question gnawed at him: would this world accept him, or would he always feel like an outsider looking in? As he left that day, a decision brewed within him. He would prove himself. Not just for him, but for everyone he loved. And as he walked home under the fading light, determination coursed through his veins. But just as he reached his street, a figure caught his eye. A woman stood there, tears streaming down her cheeks. It was a neighbor, someone he had shared countless conversations with. "What's wrong?" he called out, rushing towards her, pulse racing. Her response would change everything, opening a door to a crossroads he never anticipated. Would this moment pull him deeper into his community's struggles, or would it push him further away into the world he was trying to conquer? Marcus hurried to the woman, his concern rising with each step. "Mrs. Hargrove? Are you okay?" he asked, his voice filled with urgency. She turned to him, eyes shining with fear and desperation. "Oh, Marcus. It's my son, Jordan," she replied, her voice trembling. "He was supposed to meet me after school, but he never came home. I can't get a hold of him. I don't know where he is." The panic in her eyes gripped him tight. Jordan was just a kid, like the children Marcus taught. He had always been full of energy and dreams, his laughter echoing in the neighborhood. "Let me help you," Marcus said quickly, determination flooding through him. "What can we do?" With a rapid response time fueled by adrenaline, they began calling Jordan's friends, retracing his usual haunts. The playground. The basketball court. Each place brought a wave of anxiety as they found no trace of him. Hours passed like thick syrup, each minute heavy with unspoken fears. Mrs. Hargrove's eyes were glistening more with each dead end, while Marcus tried to offer reassurances. "He's probably just caught up playing. He'll turn up, I'm sure," he lied, hoping to keep the fear at bay. But deep down, he felt the weight of worry blossom in his chest. At the basketball court, they found a couple of kids, but no Jordan. As they approached the group, Marcus' heart raced again. "Have you guys seen Jordan?" One of the boys shook his head. "He left early, said he was going home." "Did he look okay?" Marcus pressed, a churning angst filling his stomach. The boys shrugged, indifferent, lost in their own games, and he felt frustration simmer. Hadn't they learned yet that an innocent boy could be in trouble? Mrs. Hargrove slumped against the park bench, gripping her phone like a lifeline, visibly shaken. "Maybe we should call the police," she suggested, her voice barely above a whisper. Panic coursed through Marcus. That felt like a signal that something was genuinely wrong. "Let us give it a little more time," he urged gently, but inside, his resolve felt dangerously fragile. Just then, Marcus' phone buzzed in his pocket. He pulled it out, praying it would be good news. But it was a message that Mr. Henderson had sent him about an important meeting the next morning. The conflict churned within him. This was the opportunity he had been dreaming of, yet here he was, standing on the precipice of something far more important. "Marcus?" Mrs. Hargrove's voice broke through his thoughts. "What are we going to do?" In that moment, Marcus felt like he was balancing on a tightrope, caught between his aspirations and the urgent need to protect the community that had shaped him. An unanswered prayer for Jordan and a chance to rise. Which path would he really choose? Suddenly, a voice shouted from the distance. "Marcus!" It was one of the local kids riding a bike, barreling towards them. For a split second, hope surged in Marcus' chest, but the boy's expression quickly darkened. Jordan's in trouble. He got into a fight. Marcus felt the world shift beneath him. The detour into community struggles was unexpected but necessary. He would fight for both of them. "Where?" he demanded, heart racing, as dread pooled in his stomach. The kid pointed down the street, and without a second thought, Marcus took off running, adrenaline driving him forward. "Stay here!" he shouted back to Mrs. Hargrove. What awaited him was uncertain, but one thing was clear: he couldn't ignore the battle between the worlds he straddled any longer. Would he save Jordan, or would ambition pull him away just when he was needed most? Marcus sprinted down the street, each stride fueled by a desperation to reach Jordan. His mind raced with worries of what might be happening. Fighting wasn't just about fists, it was often a cry for help, a sign that something deeper was wrong. As he turned the corner, a small crowd had gathered near an empty lot. The sun was setting, casting long shadows that danced unsettlingly against the pavement. His heart sank as he pushed through the onlookers, each face reflecting a mix of curiosity and concern. He spotted Jordan, his young frame pushed against a brick wall, defensively surrounded by a group of older boys. Their voices were raised, a symphony of taunts and insults, and Marcus could see Jordan's fists clenched tight, a storm brewing in his wide eyes. "Hey! Stop it!" Marcus shouted, his voice slicing through the escalating tension. The boys turned. They looked like a pack of wolves, ready to pounce, but something in Marcus' tone made them hesitate. He exuded an authority that was hard to ignore. "What's your problem, man?" one of the boys said, stepping forward, trying to assert control over the situation. But Marcus held his ground, the protective instinct surging through him. "Back off," he ordered, stepping closer to Jordan. "This isn't a game. You're scaring him." Jordan was trembling, but he forced himself to look up at Marcus. His eyes were wide with a mix of fear and hope. "I didn't do anything," he muttered, his voice shaking. "Let us walk away, all right?" Marcus said gently, his gaze steadying Jordan, hoping to provide some sense of calm amid chaos. He turned to the older boys, feeling the urgency in their fierce stares. "You guys need to leave him alone. There are better ways to settle things than this." One of the boys scoffed, "You think we care what you say? This is how things work." Marcus felt his blood boil. This wasn't just about protecting Jordan anymore, it was about standing up for what was right. You're bigger than him. That doesn't make you strong, it makes you a bully. Tension hung in the air, thick and heavy. The boys exchanged glances, uncertainty flickering in their eyes as they weighed their next move. Marcus took a breath. It felt like the weight of every child he had ever taught hung on his shoulders. He had to be their voice, their shield. "Let us go, Jordan," he said, gently urging the boy to his feet. The crowd of kids began to disperse, but a few stayed behind, their expressions a mix of interest and defiance. As they stepped away from the chaos, Marcus placed a reassuring hand on Jordan's shoulder. "You okay?" he asked softly. Jordan nodded but said nothing. The silence spoke volumes. He was shaken, vulnerable, and maybe a little lost. Marcus felt a wave of heartbreak as he recognized the weight of the moment. This was more than just a fight, it was a reminder of how fragile kids could be, especially when the world felt so dark. "Talk to me," Marcus prompted gently, leading him away from the crowd. "What happened?" Jordan's voice barely rose above a whisper. "They said I didn't belong. That I should go back to where I came from." Marcus felt the rage boil again. Words could cut deeper than any physical scuffle. "You belong here, Jordan. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise." As they walked, Marcus' thoughts drifted to his upcoming meeting, the pressure of ambition clashing violently with the weight of responsibility. He had the opportunity to change his life, but at what cost? Could he really turn his back on a boy who needed him right now? Jordan stopped abruptly, his eyes glistening with unshed tears. "I'm so scared, Marcus." Those words struck Marcus harder than any fight in that lot. He dropped down to Jordan's level, searching the boy's face. "I know. But it's okay to be scared. What matters is what you do next. We're in this together." A flicker of belief ignited in Jordan's eyes, and for the first time that day, a small smile broke through. As they made their way back through the fading light, Marcus knew this was just the beginning of a long journey. Together, they would navigate not only the battles outside, but the ones within too. But first, there was still the importance of tomorrow's meeting. Would it stand in the way of his commitment to something bigger than himself? What choices awaited him next? The path ahead felt uncertain, and the inner conflict loomed larger than ever. Would he have the strength to encourage Jordan while pursuing his own dreams? As they walked farther from the lot, the shadows of the evening grew long and the air thickened with unsaid things. Jordan seemed smaller now, like he carried the weight of the world on his especially thin shoulders. Marcus could feel the resentment in the air, the remnants of the confrontation still shadowing their steps. "Do you want to grab a bite?" Marcus asked, trying to change the subject. "I know a place nearby with the best burgers." Jordan shrugged. The suggestion hung for a moment, before dissipating like smoke. "I'm not hungry." Marcus nodded, understanding. When fear grips you, it's hard to think about food. But he wasn't about to let Jordan slip into silence. "What about ice cream? You like that, right?" The slightest twitch of Jordan's lips hinted at a smile. "Yeah, I guess." "All right then." Marcus felt a wave of relief. "Let us find some ice cream. You've earned it after today." The walk to the ice cream shop felt both light and heavy. Marcus filled the space with chatter, making jokes about flavors. Banana split was a classic, but who liked green mint chip anyway? Jordan's silence started breaking, and occasionally a laugh escaped, a precious sound amid the heaviness of the earlier tension. As they stood in line, Jordan finally found his voice. "I didn't think anyone would come," he said quietly, his gaze respectful yet vulnerable. Marcus turned to him, brows furrowed. "And why is that?" "Because everyone else just watches," Jordan confessed, the honesty spilling from him like a long-held secret. "Nobody sticks up for me. Sometimes folks just don't know how to, Marcus replied, kneeling so their eyes met at the same level. But you're not alone anymore. Remember that. Jordan nodded, but his brows still furrowed with worry. What if it happens again? What if I get hurt? The truth of this hit Marcus like a brick. It might happen again. But you know what else? You've got a voice. If something happens, you tell me. You don't face it alone. Jordan's expression shifted, uncertainty battling against a spark of hope. But are you always going to be there? Their ice cream arrived, and Marcus took a moment to swipe the colorful scoop. I promise, as long as you need me, I'll be right here. The sincerity was laced with a twinge of personal resolve for Marcus too. He needed this. It wasn't just about helping Jordan, but also about anchoring him in this storm. They found a small green bench outside, and with ice cream in hand, things felt a bit lighter. Jordan took a tentative lick of his cone, his eyes widening. This is actually really good. Marcus laughed. See? Just like that, you're starting to enjoy the sweetness again. At that moment, the world felt manageable. Laughter, even if brief, was a balm for old wounds. Marcus couldn't help but think how much they both needed this moment. Yet, as they finished their treats, the gnawing weight of tomorrow pressed back into his mind, the meeting that could change everything. Would he have to sacrifice moments like these to pursue the future he wanted? Would following his dreams push Jordan away when he needed him most? As they stood to leave, helpless yet hopeful, Marcus glanced at Jordan. His expression had changed slightly, the rawness from before replaced with dawning courage. Every ounce of strength Marcus had rallied for Jordan flickered back to him, charging something he thought was dwindling. Tomorrow is going to be big, isn't it? Jordan asked. Yeah, Marcus admitted, heart racing. It really is. They walked home, two figures framed against the backdrop of the darkening sky. Each footstep echoed with uncertainty, but also with the promise of a new beginning. What would tomorrow hold? Would Marcus's ambitions come at a cost? As they turned another corner, stepping closer to the unknown, a haunting question lingered in his mind: how do you balance doing the right thing when everything within you is pulling elsewhere? The night settled into a quiet rhythm as Marcus and Jordan continued their walk home. Streetlights flickered to life, casting a yellow glow that danced along the pavement. The warmth of the ice cream still lingered in Jordan's smile, but the shadows of uncertainty returned, clouding the edges of their momentary happiness. What are you thinking about? Marcus asked, noticing Jordan's far-off gaze. Jordan hesitated, his thoughts swirling like leaves in the wind. Just tomorrow. What if it's a disaster? Marcus reached out, placing a reassuring hand on Jordan's shoulder. It won't be. You're stronger than you think. Just go in there and do your best. They turned onto the street where the familiar houses loomed, each one holding memories, laughter, and sometimes pain. With each step, Marcus felt the weight of responsibility dive deeper into his chest. He knew the meeting would be crucial. It could either propel him forward or leave him stuck in place. Have you ever thought about what you'll do after school? Marcus asked to break the tension. Jordan looked thoughtful. Sometimes. I mean, I like music, but it seems silly. Everyone says it's too hard to make a living. Maybe, Marcus replied, weighing his words carefully, but you have to follow what makes you feel alive. Just like I have to follow my dreams, even if they feel risky. Jordan nodded slowly, a flicker of understanding illuminating his eyes. Do you think it's worth it? Following something you can't be sure of? A hint of sadness crept into Marcus's voice as he answered. I think so. The fear of never trying is heavier than the fear of failing. Don't you want to know where your passion might lead? Just then, they passed a small park, the sound of laughter spilling out from a group of kids playing. Watching them brought an unexpected wave of nostalgia over both boys. Marcus's mind drifted back to simpler times when possibilities felt endless. Hey, let us swing for a bit, Marcus suggested, diverting them from the weight of their conversation. Jordan's eyes lit up, and for a moment, the heavy air lifted. They approached the swings, the metal chains creaking as they sat, their feet dragging against the ground. Marcus pushed off, feeling the familiar rush of exhilaration escape his lips, a quick laugh that filled the space between them. "Don't forget to pump your legs," Marcus shouted, glancing sideways at Jordan, who was hesitantly trying to find his rhythm. Jordan focused, grinning wider as he began to swing. "This feels nice. See? It's all about enjoying the ride, even if it's a little scary." As they swung higher, their fears receded, replaced by a shared sense of friendship. But as they landed back on the ground, reality crashed back in. Tomorrow was looming, and with it, Marcus's dreams felt both tantalizingly close and frighteningly far. Standing up from the swing, Jordan drew in a deep breath. "Thanks, Marcus. For everything. I really needed this." "Anytime, buddy," Marcus replied, hiding a pang of concern behind his smile. But then he felt that their bond was growing deeper, and so were his worries about what his path might mean for both of them. They walked silently towards home, the chill of the night air whispering reminders of the uncertainties that awaited. Jordan kicked a small stone along the pavement, while Marcus's thoughts raced. What if chasing this dream meant sacrificing more of themselves? Could he really balance his aspirations with the support Jordan needed? Arriving at Jordan's house, the porch light cast a warm glow over them, and the moment felt fragile, like an unsteady balance on a tightrope. "Remember, I'll be there for you tomorrow," Marcus said, hoping to reinforce their promise. "Yeah," Jordan replied, his small voice steady. "And I'll be there for you too." As they parted ways, Marcus felt the weight of the world on his shoulders once again. Tomorrow could change everything, but as he glanced back and saw Jordan standing a little taller than before, he dared to believe in more than just dreams. What if stepping forward changed everything, not just for them individually, but for each other? As these questions loomed in his mind, Marcus took a deep breath and entered the uncertainty ahead. The sun peeked through the curtains the next morning, spilling golden light across the room. Marcus awoke with a sense of urgency that flickered in his chest, a familiar blend of excitement and anxiety. Today wasn't just another day, it was the day that could change everything. He rolled out of bed, the weight of the previous night's conversation still clinging to him. Jordan's face still flashed in his mind, the way his smile transformed as they shared those carefree moments on the swings. But he also remembered the uncertainty that clouded their thoughts. The contrast felt heavy, like an anchor pulling him down. After a quick shower, he dressed with care, his mind racing through potential scenarios for the meeting. Would the board be welcoming? Would they recognize the passion he poured into his ideas? His phone buzzed on the bedside table, snapping him out of his reverie. A text from Jordan appeared, simple but powerful. "Hey, just wanted to say I believe in you. Let's crush today." Marcus couldn't help but smile. He typed back a quick response, feeling the warmth of their friendship envelop him. "Thanks. You too. Can't wait to hear how it goes." Once downstairs, the aroma of breakfast filled the air. His mother was already bustling around the kitchen, preparing toast and eggs. She looked up with a smile that radiated warmth, instantly calming his nerves. "Excited for today?" she asked, her voice laced with anticipation. "With every ounce of my being," Marcus replied, pouring orange juice into a glass. "Just remember, no matter what happens, I'm proud of you," she said, placing a gentle hand on his shoulder. "Thanks, Mom." He felt the pride swell within him, but the gnawing fear of failing felt just as strong. He glanced at the wall clock, the hands ticking ever closer to the meeting time. The bus ride felt like a blur. Marcus's heart raced with every stop, the buzzing of conversations around him fading into a background hum. He imagined walking into that boardroom, murmurs of interest from the board members as he presented. Finally, he arrived. The building loomed tall before him, gleaming windows reflecting the world outside. With a breath that felt both steadying and tightening in his chest, he stepped inside. As he made his way to the meeting room, Marcus spotted Jordan sitting in the waiting area. Relief washed over him at the sight of his friend. Jordan looked determined, gearing up for his performance as well. "There you are," Jordan said, standing up and grinning. "I was wondering when you'd show up. I'm here. Ready to take on the world?" "More like trying to keep my heart from jumping out of my chest," Jordan joked, although there was a flicker of anxiety in his eyes. "You've got this. Remember, it's just a chance to let them see you," Marcus encouraged. They shared a moment of silence, the bond between them holding firm, grounding them both in the face of uncertainty. Just as the elevator doors opened, they took one last breath together. Marcus's mind was racing with visions of possibilities. But what if he wasn't enough? As they walked into the sleek boardroom, the bright lights shining down, Marcus felt the weight of expectation pressing onto his chest. The members of the board turned to them, quiet whispers buzzing before they silenced, their eyes locking onto Marcus and Jordan. "Good morning," the chairperson began, her smile both welcoming and intimidating. Marcus's heart pounded. This was the moment. But as they began to present their ideas, a sudden thought crashed into his mind, sparking flames of panic. What if sharing their dreams meant exposing their vulnerabilities too? Just then, Jordan's voice broke through, steady and confident, reminding him that they were in this together. And with every word, Marcus felt a flicker of hope kindling between them. The ball was rolling, but would they be able to keep pace? Just when he thought they were hitting their stride, an unexpected question floated in the air, making his stomach drop. "What makes you think you can stand out in such a competitive market?" The boards. Skepticism felt like a jolt, a challenge to everything he had just laid down. Marcus's mind raced. Could he turn this around? Marcus's heart hammered in his chest. He felt the heat rising to his cheeks, a surge of nerves threatening to spill out. The sunlight streaming through the floor-to-ceiling windows suddenly felt harsh and glaring, almost mocking him. The chairperson's piercing gaze felt like a spotlight, and rather than illuminating his thoughts, it darkened them. Jordan shot him a quick, reassuring nod, but the question lingered like a specter. Everyone leaned in, scribbling notes, their eyes boring into him like they could gauge the truth behind his facade. In that moment, everything felt suspended, and it was as if the world outside wrapped in silence, holding its breath. He reminded himself of what he believed in. His voice was tight as he began. "Well, I think standing out isn't just about the product or service. It's about the story it tells." As the words tumbled out, he could feel the tension shift. He glanced at Jordan, who was mirroring his intensity. They both knew the truth. This was more than just a pitch. It was about their lives and dreams, a reflection of how far they had come. "I come from a background where opportunities were few. My experiences shaped my approach to this project. I've seen firsthand how innovation can bridge gaps. We're not just launching a product, we're aiming to create connections that resonate with people." Each word tasted like iron on his tongue, raw and real. The board members nodded slightly, but skepticism still flickered in their eyes. "And how do you plan to do that?" came the probing voice of a man at the end of the table with gray hair and a steely demeanor. Marcus felt panic clawing at him again. But then he remembered their late-night brainstorming sessions, the laughter, the frustration, the determination. "We plan to utilize not just market research but also community feedback. Our campaign isn't about shouting to be heard, it's about listening to our audience. We want to involve them every step of the way." There was a whisper among the board members, a shift in their posture. Marcus leaned in, energized by the possibility, fueled directly by the urgency that buzzed between him and Jordan. He felt each person's skepticism starting to melt away, albeit slightly, but they were still a long way from a full embrace. Jordan then took the lead, his excitement contagious. Imagine a campaign that not only informs but inspires. Picture the community rallies, the partnership with local skilled businesses. It's a chance for us all to grow. He gestured passionately, every word infused with a fervor that Marcus admired. Seeing his friend like this ignited something in Marcus. They were partners in every sense of the word, each playing off the other's energy. But as adrenaline surged through him, a lingering doubt clawed at the edges of his resolve. What if they didn't buy it? What if the same forces that had once held them back now managed to do so again? He could almost hear the ticking of the clock, each second echoing the weight of the moment. He had come too far to back down now. Every obstacle we faced taught us resilience, Marcus added, his voice stronger this time. We learned to pivot, to adapt. We know the stakes, and we won to let history dictate our future. The silence hung heavy in the air. Moments stretched long as he searched the faces of the board members, hoping to catch a glimmer of understanding. Just then, the chairperson raised an eyebrow, tilting her head slightly. Well then, let us hear more about your strategies. Marcus felt a jolt of hope push through the fog of uncertainty, but just as he began to gather his thoughts, another voice broke through, cutting through the growing light. But, why should we trust that you can deliver? In that moment, a wave of pressure washed over him, and Marcus knew he had to dig deep to find a way before this chance slipped away completely. Marcus took a breath, the air filling his lungs like an unfulfilled promise. He felt the pulse of his own heartbeat, steadying him for the battle ahead. This wasn't just about convincing a room full of executives, it was about proving something to himself. All he had done, all the late nights and early mornings, they couldn't go to waste. I understand your skepticism, he said, meeting the questioner's piercing gaze head-on. But I stand here with more than ideas. I come equipped with reality. I have not just the skills to deliver, I have the will that goes beyond profit. I want our work to matter. A murmur flickered among the board members. A couple of heads nodded. He seized the moment, clutching it like a lifeline. Success isn't merely defined by numbers on a balance sheet, it's about the stories we create and the lives we touch. This is what we want to bring to the table, a movement, not just a marketing campaign. Jordan jumped in, his enthusiasm infectious. Think of it like this, imagine a community thriving together, people inspired by a cause that reflects their values. A sense of belonging stemming from this connection. He swept his arm across the room as if trying to embrace the true essence of what they were discussing. Seeking that spark of recognition from the board members lit a fire in Marcus. He continued, we've done our homework. We've analyzed competitors, but more importantly, we've engaged people, in real life. They want to be part of something genuine, and we're here to facilitate that. The gray-haired man, his chin resting on his interlaced fingers, leaned back in contemplative silence. Marcus sensed the shift, each board member processing his words, their skepticism beginning to fray. But Marcus, the chairperson, interjected, her tone softer now yet no less challenging. What makes you think the community will respond? How will you ensure their voices truly lead the way? A flicker of doubt flashed through Marcus, but he quickly suppressed it. This was their moment to turn vulnerability into strength. Because our journey is rooted in their experiences. I've worked as a janitor, surrounded by stories of struggle and hope. I've listened to those tales while cleaning late into the night. We want our campaign to honor those voices. You're saying this from a personal point, the gray-haired man replied, his eyes narrowing slightly, gauging Marcus's sincerity. But there are many causes out there. How will you keep their interest? Marcus felt a surge of emotion, the memories flooding back, those moments spent connecting with people whose stories had fueled his fire. Trust is essential, and how do we earn their trust? By showing up, by listening, by creating something together. Not as a corporation, but as allies. A soft, murmured agreement rippled through the room, a sense of potential beginning to coil around the table. Yet, uncertainty still lingered like a shadow. The chairperson tapped her pen against the table lightly. What if what if you fail? This isn't just your vision at stake, it's our investment too. For a heartbeat, panic threatened to seize him again. But he steadied himself, looking around at the expectant faces. Then we will learn. Failure isn't the end but a step toward improvement. We rise, we adapt, and we grow. That's the heartbeat of every community. He finished with an urgency that permeated the air thick with dreams yet to be realized. But I know we will exceed expectations. Together, we'll pave a path forward that has never been traveled before. The silence that followed pulsed like a living thing, charged with newfound hope. Then, through the stillness, came the chairperson's voice, "Let us hear the specifics of your plan." As they leaned in closer, Marcus felt the weight of 100 eyes watching, each moment pregnant with possibility. Would they see the vision he had painted, or would skepticism win just one more round? With every ounce of hope he could muster, he launched into their strategies. But in the back of his mind, the question simmered, what if the very foundation of their dreams was built on sand? The meeting progressed, an intricate dance of words and ideas. Marcus and Jordan poured their hearts into the presentation. They shared strategies for community engagement, outreach plans, and innovative marketing techniques. With each passing minute, the glimmers of acceptance began to replace the skeptical frowns in the room. The board members leaned forward, interest piqued. They started to nod, exchanging glances that suggested understanding. The heaviness in Marcus' chest began lifting, replaced by a lightness he hadn't felt in days. He could see it, the dream taking shape before him, tangible and real. Your engagement with the community, the chairperson interjected, is impressive. But can you scale it? Jordan stepped up, fire lighting his eyes. Absolutely. Our strength lies in fostering genuine relationships. We're not just looking to sell a product. We're building a community that wants to grow by sharing their own stories. The response was like watching a wave crest, a swell of hope crashing over every doubt. Those in the room started to share their excitement, their willingness to support a vision that resonated with their own. Let us think beyond just sales, one of the board members chimed in, we could create opportunities, fellowships for local talents. That would speak to the heart of our mission. The conversation unfolded like blooming petals, each idea enhancing the last. They were moving about as a unified team, igniting a spark within one another, filling the room with a sense of belonging. Marcus and Jordan's passion became a magnet, drawing everyone closer to the cause they fought for together. With every question they answered, the walls of skepticism cracked. What had begun as hesitant flickers of doubt transformed into nods of approval. Then, the gray-haired man clasped his hands together, his demeanor shifted. All right, I can see you both have poured your souls into this. I appreciate your commitment. Each word felt like warm sunlight spilling down on Marcus, melting away fears he had carried with him since that fateful day in the lot with Jordan. Thank you, Marcus replied, a grin breaking through. This was it. This moment was a culmination of every hope and dream he had held tethered forever to those he loved. As they wrapped up, the chairperson rose and walked to the window, staring out over the city. You both are representing something larger than your individual ambitions. It's inspiring. Let us discuss how we can make your vision a reality. This was the moment. They had fought hard, but they were on the precipice of something huge, an opportunity to redefine their community, their futures intertwined. Outside, Marcus and Jordan stood in the courtyard, breathless. Did we really just do that? Jordan blurted, a radiant happiness reflected in his bright eyes. Unbelievably, yes. Marcus replied, his heart still racing. They shared a moment filled with laughter, relief washing over them like a soothing balm. Yet, even amidst their joy, Marcus felt a shudder of fear linger. Things are just beginning, though, he reminded gently. We're still accountable to our community, to every kid who looks up to us. This is just the start. Jordan nodded, seriousness creeping into his expression. I'm ready for it, Marcus. I trust you and believe we'll keep our promise. Together. In that moment, the weight of responsibility transformed into a source of strength. They were no longer just a cleaner's son and a scared boy from the neighborhood, they were voices of hope, illuminating a path ahead. As they stepped into that future, it felt as if both their dreams had merged, creating something magnificent. They were ready for the challenges ahead, standing shoulder to shoulder, ready to change the game. And as the sun set, casting hues of orange and purple across the sky, Marcus found the final clarity he had been searching for. Ambition didn't have to forsake community. Rather, it was embedded within it. Their journey had only just begun, and both boys felt the weight of their dreams shift into a buoyant hope, a promise of brighter tomorrows, a world where both could grow together. This was their moment to believe in something bigger than themselves. They turned toward the horizon, radiant smiles illuminating the way forward. This is your moment to make a difference too. You need to subscribe now to our channel. Don't miss out on these inspiring stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help light up more dreams. Comment below with your thoughts on the journey, what you felt during the struggles and triumphs. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this incredible transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share. You're part of the community that matters.